I had been President Brown's secretary for 7 years. His fiancée once pointed at me and said, "Fire her, and I'll marry you." He looked at her coldly and replied, "Then forget the wedding." Me? I was stunned. I had even planned to make a good fortune during the wedding preparations. That afternoon, I happened to pass by the marketing department and overheard Eric gossiping, "Have you guys seen the boss's fiancée? A real princess, that one." Sure, Assistant West is pretty, but next to a lady like that? No comparison in terms of upper-class elegance. I stopped in my tracks. Complimenting the boss's fiancée was fine, but why drag me down while doing it? I'm just an ordinary working woman. How could I possibly exude the aura of old money? Give me 100 million, and maybe I'll start glowing with noble air on the spot. Poor girl, someone added. She's been with President Brown for years, but in the end, he's still planning to marry into a proper family. Well, marriages among the wealthy are all about status and compatibility, another voice chimed in. Don't even mention it, Assistant West has had it rough. Ever since the wedding announcement came out, she looks 10 years older. If I was merely speechless before, now I was full of question marks. Ethan's getting married. What's that got to do with me? Why should I look haggard? If I look worn out, it's only because of overtime. I hurried back to the office, chugged a bottle of collagen peptides to calm down, then grabbed the HR folder and knocked on Ethan's door. "Come in." His voice, as always, was deep and magnetic. I pushed open the door, stepped inside, and began reporting on the afternoon's meeting schedule and materials. Then I handed him the personnel file. "This is HR's proposed promotion list." I reviewed it. Since the marketing department's performance didn't meet the target, I don't recommend any promotions this year. We already poured 2 quarters worth of marketing funds into campaigns that barely made a ripple. Let's just convert the interns to full-time. Ethan nodded. Eric didn't produce anything impactful in PR. I stood beside him, watching his slender fingers sign his name in bold, confident strokes. I smiled faintly. Eric, the very same one who was gossiping, had actually been spreading rumors about me and Ethan. That I was his pathetic, secret lover? Huh. Do I, Amber, look like the kind of tragic heroine who silently bears humiliation in a melodrama? Please. I'm not in a romance novel. I'm the sharp, capable secretary in a corporate drama, the one who can intercept information and subtly influence top-level decisions in just a few words. Eric, forget about your promotion this year. With that money, I'd rather allocate more menstrual care subsidies to the women in our company. Once the work was handled, Ethan turned to me and asked, "What's for lunch?" The company has a cafeteria, but Ethan rarely goes. He's the president, squeezing into a crowded lunch line with employees is awkward. When he's busy, I bring him lunch, when he's not, we go out together. There's a new Italian place near Impression Plaza, I told him. The reviews are good. Ethan nodded, grabbed the jacket draped over his chair, and we headed downstairs together. It was lunchtime, and the elevator stopped on every floor, packed with people. Ethan and I ended up pressed closely together. I caught a faint scent of his cologne, Silver Mountain Water, the one I had chosen for him. I quickly turned my face away, feeling a little uncomfortable. The scent meant we were too close. When we reached the 5th floor, a bunch of programmers piled in, joking loudly. I was shoved off balance and stumbled straight into Ethan's arms. His warm hand braced the back of my head, shielding me in a small circle of safety. His deep, magnetic voice echoed above me. Overcapacity. Wait for the next one. The programmers shuffled out sheepishly. I quickly stepped away. The elevator fell into dead silence, except for my awkward attempts to fix my hair. Of course, Eric was in the elevator too, looking at us with an annoyingly suggestive expression. President Brown. Assistant West. Heading out for lunch? Ethan replied blandly. The elevator got even quieter. Everyone's faces wore weird, knowing smiles. Wait, this isn't what it looks like. Let me explain. Ethan and I went to the same university. I called him Senior. We worked on projects together. He had excellent grades, and following him helped me win national awards. After graduation, joining his company was a logical step. I always knew he was a powerhouse. If he ever took the company public, I might even get some stock options. Our relationship was simple. Dull. Smelled like capitalism. Not even remotely romantic. Inside the restaurant, soft violin music played in the background. I browsed the menu while Ethan rested his chin on his hand, watching me. Dressed in a tailored black suit, his features were sharp and refined. A few nearby tables couldn't help but sneak glances. Objectively speaking, his face could outshine most romance novel male leads. And unlike them, he wasn't difficult to please. I picked the dishes, he never complained, never nitpicked. He just ate whatever was served. The waiter came over. It's Thursday. We're offering a couple's special today. Includes a complimentary dessert. Would you like that? I glanced at the menu. It was a good deal, the baked lobster alone cost almost as much when ordered separately. Let's do it, I said. Ethan tapped the table in agreement. Very well, sir. The waiter took the menu from my hand and placed a rose in the vase in front of me. Only then did it hit me, he's engaged. President Brown, maybe we shouldn't have ordered that, I said cautiously. He raised an eyebrow at me. Why not? Didn't you say it was a good deal? I'm not a fool. I'm not paying extra just to order you baked lobster a la carte. My face turned red. Crap, he saw right through me. He knew I was just here for the lobster. After our meal, Ethan went to pay. I was still debating where to grab coffee when a shadow loomed over me. It was Colleen, his fiancée, dressed head to toe in designer labels. What are you doing here? She snapped. You can even afford to eat here? I gave a guilty smile. Not really. That's why I tagged along with the boss for a free meal. And you got the couple set meal too? Her face twisted with fury as she spotted the man at the register. You. Wasn't me. He ordered it, I replied. You'd better give me an explanation. Colleen snatched the rose from the vase and flung it at me. How was I supposed to explain? That I'd been arranging President Brown's meals for nearly 7 years and had dragged him to all the best restaurants in the city? I'd get arrested. Panicked, but still a seasoned secretary, I put on a professional smile. The boss wanted to bring you here, but he was worried this place wouldn't match your standards. So I came ahead to scope it out. Colleen hesitated. Really? I gestured to the full table. Otherwise, why a couple's meal? She frowned, glared at me, then huffed. Lucky you. Don't let me catch you eating with my fiancé again, or your job's gone. I shivered. Forget about not eating with Ethan. Even if I had to skip lunch entirely, I needed to protect my paycheck. After Colleen's warning, I sensed a looming career crisis. As a female secretary, I had to maintain professional boundaries with my male boss. I always thought I did well. After all these years, I never once had improper thoughts about Ethan. Even if I accidentally touched him, I'd immediately stand straight and apologize. But apparently, his fiancée didn't think I'd done enough. So, I had to make adjustments. I stopped joining Ethan for lunch. Instead, I ordered delivery for him every day. A week passed like that. After one meeting, he looked at me meaningfully and said, I don't want takeout anymore. Understood. The following week, I scheduled all his lunch meetings with clients and board members. No more takeout. Now he drank with old men every day. Within 2 days, he messaged me on DingTalk, Amber, I don't want to keep drinking with old guys. How coincidental. Colleen was also messaging me on DingTalk. Who knew how a rich heiress got on that app? Every morning, she bombarded me with new messages. Why hasn't Ethan taken her out yet? Was I, the evil supporting character, manipulating his calendar? Turns out, I controlled their dates too. Fine. I added a romantic dinner to Ethan's calendar for that evening. Same Italian restaurant. Pre-booked the couple's special. Even ordered them a bottle of wine. CC'd him on the invite. He read it, and didn't respond. It wasn't until much later, nearly closing time, that Ethan finally approved the dinner appointment. Ethan, I reminded him, you have a date tonight. He looked up. Same restaurant as last time? Yes. 6 o'clock, I confirmed. Ethan simply replied, okay. That evening, I watched from the 19th floor office window as he, impeccably dressed, stepped into his Bentley. Ethan was off to have wine with a beautiful young lady. Colleen was finally getting her date with her fiancé. And me? I'd kept my job. I boarded the subway and imagined Ethan and Colleen dining at that Italian restaurant, elegantly dressed, sipping French wine, enjoying the couple's meal. For some reason, the thought irritated me. Ugh. Damn capitalism. That night, Ethan DingTalked me. Ethan, come over. We've got work. Amber, sir, it's 9 o'clock, that's not really appropriate, is it? He answered with action, not words. Labor law meant nothing to him. He straight up kicked my door. Back then, I'd agreed to rent the apartment next to his because the company offered a housing subsidy. Looking back, I must have been out of my mind. Once the door opened, Ethan strolled into my place like he owned it and sat gloomily on the sofa. Quick meeting, he said darkly. I resigned myself to fate and opened my laptop. My schedule had been a disaster lately. In his beautiful, fox-like eyes, I caught a flicker of anger. It's about the meal arrangements, he said coolly. Anything I should know? Ethan gave a cold laugh. What do you think? I glanced at his handsome face. His left eyelid was twitching. He was really mad. I gently closed my laptop and knelt down. If this is about the dinner tonight, your fiancé's been hounding me on DingTalk for days. He narrowed his eyes. Why does Colleen even have your DingTalk? Yep. That's everyone's first question. I wish I knew, I muttered. He exhaled sharply. She's not my fiancée. If you keep mixing personal affairs into work, you're done. A thunderbolt hit me. I'd been working for this man for 7 years, rising from clueless assistant to the woman who'd been by his side as he transformed from parachuted young executive to the ultimate decision-maker. Even if I hadn't earned glory, I'd surely earned sweat. And now, he was firing me because of his fiancée? Does he even know how terrifying Colleen is? She barks like a chihuahua. She's been attacking me since our very first meeting. If I lose this job, where would a single woman my age even go? My nose burned, and I quietly pulled a tissue from the box. Ethan's expression softened. Don't let it happen again. He set a takeout box on the table and wearily nodded toward it. Eat. I peeked inside. Baked lobster. From the same Italian restaurant. I swallowed hard and shook my head. I haven't been feeling well lately. Shouldn't eat late at night. His gaze instantly darkened with warning. So? I tearfully ate the entire baked lobster. Capitalists sure have a creative way of forcing overtime. The next morning, after the daily briefing, Ethan asked me to stay. This wedding, he said, you're in charge of it. Full planning and execution. I froze. But his eyes made it clear, he wasn't joking. Awkwardly, I tugged at the corner of my mouth. Sir, I don't think that's appropriate. It's your private matter. The scale won't be small, he said indifferently, adjusting his gold-rimmed glasses. It'll require PR. That makes it company business. What if the bride has objections? I'm paying, he said simply. Then looked me straight in the eyes. You're deciding. I opened my mouth to refuse, but couldn't find the words. After all, being a secretary means operating in a gray zone. Life assistant duties are included. Ethan wasn't exactly helpless, but still, I made most of his lunch decisions. When his house was being renovated during a product launch, I was the one who found the designer and oversaw the process. But marriage, that's a different beast entirely. I couldn't even explain why my chest felt tight. I hadn't even been in a relationship, and now I was arranging Ethan's wedding to the Chihuahua? I was running around, coordinating everything, while she donned a pure white gown and married with flair. People were still whispering that I was Ethan's secret lover of 7 years. With this, my supposed role would be even more tragic and humiliating. Ethan. You really don't do a single thing like a normal person. I was full of resentment, but I was just an employee. Reluctantly, I opened a new project document. What's the general timeframe and budget? I asked. You decide. And the budget? 30 million, he replied casually, lounging in his executive chair. I froze. How much? 30 million. I shot up from my seat, took a few shaky steps, grabbed my teacup, and took a deep sip to steady my wildly excited heart. Then I returned to the couch and sat like a lady. 30 million. And I was in full control. I'd never handled a project of this size. Weddings are endless loops of tasks, with countless hidden budgets. All the tendering, all the negotiations. So many opportunities for kickbacks. Amber, your golden days are coming. Marry quickly, I said. The sooner the better. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I began drafting the wedding plan. President Brown, I said solemnly, I guarantee you a glamorous, unforgettable wedding. Naturally, Ethan threw me out of his office after that, with a sharp, get out. Didn't matter. He was now the person I loved most in this entire world. My father, even. So what if he wanted to marry Colleen? I, Amber, would accept her as my new mother. Love triangle? Melodrama? Nonsense. The three of us were a happy family. As I sat in my office, fingers flying over the keyboard, crafting the wedding proposal, my phone rang. It was Colleen. Come out. Now. Mom? Oh, Colleen. Right. Sure. I'm on my way. She'd asked me to meet at a cafe 2 blocks away. As soon as I walked in, I was hit with a cold, deadly glare. Arms crossed, she looked ready to skin me alive. Hello? What's going on? I asked carefully, pulling out the chair across from her. She slammed her phone onto the table. Ethan told me yesterday that he's not going to marry me. Care to explain that? Everyone in the cafe turned to look at us. I was dumbfounded. Ethan's not marrying you? Shouldn't you be asking him? What's it got to do with me? Colleen grabbed my chin and yanked me forward. You've been whispering in his ear, haven't you? Pretending to set up dates, but actually trying to break us up. I'm not without temper, but her claw-like nails made me hesitate. I swear that's not true, I said quickly. Just this morning, he even said he was going to spend 30 million on your wedding. 30 million, she gasped. You're serious? You're my one and only, sis. I darted away, removing her hand from my face. She blinked, trying to process it. You're not lying to me again, are you? Of course not. I showed her the project plan I'd just finished. The whole process is already underway. He's eager to marry you. I'm looking forward to that day, too. Colleen's eyes narrowed in suspicion. You two aren't planning to steal my dowry, take my family business, then kick me out, are you? Cut back on the romance novels, I muttered. She sneered and gave me a condescending once-over. Then a calculating light flickered in her eyes. Well then, come with me, she said sweetly. Let's go pick out some wedding supplies. She stood, her tight dress outlining every curve. With her platinum handbag on her arm, she radiated power and money. It was a proper ambush. Colleen took me to Hermes. As soon as she walked in, the staff ushered her into the VIP room. With a snap of her fingers, she declared, I want to order bridal jewelry. A clerk brought out the catalog, bowing slightly. Assistant West, have a seat. Colleen removed her sunglasses and patted the spot next to her, smiling with hidden malice. I sat down nervously. A girl like me, raised on 1688 and Pinduoduo, needed real courage to walk into Hermes. Colleen laid the album across my lap, flipping through each page and commenting. Which one do you like, Assistant West? I gave a sincere answer. They're all beautiful. Look closely, she sneered. After all, it's not like you can afford to buy them. Or even look at them. That hit a nerve. I can always Google, I said coldly. She froze. I smiled. Everything's online now. Hermes included. And rich people love sharing their purchases on Xiaohongshu. Colleen glared at me like she wanted to eat me alive. What are you staring at? I said calmly. You do realize it's the digital age now, right? Working-class girls have seen it all. We sparred in silence until the clerk jumped in helpfully. This is our latest limited edition set. The diamonds are stunning. Both of us leaned in. Head to head, we stared at the dazzling full-set diamond necklace stretching from neck to navel. Our eyes sparkled. How much? We asked in unison. After discount, 10.68 million. My sparkle died instantly. Hers didn't. She even tapped the page with her ridiculously long nail. Do you have the physical piece? We only have the matching bracelet, the clerk replied. Bring it out. Colleen tried on the $1 million bracelet under the spotlight and gave me a smug glance in the mirror. I lost. Completely. Damn it, those diamonds were really shiny. In that moment, I felt a part of my noble, frugal soul crumble under capitalism's sparkling weight. Beneath the blinding glow of diamonds, I felt utterly small and powerless. My face must have shown too much regret, humiliation, and a flicker of defeat, because Colleen's pride swelled even further. She casually pointed at a pair of sparkling heels. Try these on. The clerk knelt, ready to help her into the shoes. Colleen lounged back on the sofa, crossing one leg over the other. No, she said, lifting her chin with malice in her eyes. I want her to do it. Her gaze locked on me. Assistant West, are you free? Good God. Was humiliating me her new addiction? Did I look like I was into public degradation? I pulled out my laptop on the spot and started drafting an Excel budget sheet. Put them back, I said. We're not buying those. Colleen blinked. She hadn't expected me to reject her. What did you say? You just dropped over 10 million on the necklace, I said calmly. My budget's tight. We'll save where we can. Shoes get covered by the dress anyway. Her face was a whole series of question marks. What are you talking about? I bullshitted with the utmost sincerity. The 30 million budget isn't just for you. There's the banquet, the venue, stage design, decor, flowers, wine, guest transport, and lodging. Given your status, I added, a huge chunk goes to PR. So, yeah, things are tight. I can't approve those shoes. Colleen shot to her feet. Why would I need your approval to buy my wedding shoes? I spread my hands. Because the wedding's my project now. She was so furious, she grabbed her Hermes purse and looked like she might hurl it at me. All the money goes through me. I shouted. Throw it if you want, but even if you smash the necklace, it won't change a thing. Colleen paused. A sliver of reason held her back. But her face was filled with regret, rage, and indignation. I grinned. Beg me. Come on. Say please. She snapped, just wait. I'm telling Ethan. Then stormed out, heels clacking, platinum bag swinging behind her like a war banner. I sat there sipping the tea the clerk had brought and tried on those heels. They actually looked great. One day, once I skim a little off this wedding budget, I'll buy myself a pair. As I stepped out of the store, my phone rang. Ethan. This bastard. After everything I went through because of him? Just hearing his voice made my blood boil. I didn't even want to pick up. You weren't in the office this afternoon, his voice dropped several degrees. No leave request. No clock out. Right. This bastard is still my boss. I was outsourcing wedding items. Moments later, his champagne-colored Bentley appeared in traffic. I slid into the passenger seat and glanced at him. His expression was calm, collected. Clearly, Colleen wasn't treating him the way she treated me, like a chew toy. His gaze drifted to me. What did you source? Jewelry. He raised an eyebrow. What jewelry? A Hermes diamond set. 10.68 million. 10, Ethan nearly short-circuited. But he was still a domineering CEO, after all. Maybe lacking in other areas, but not money. He propped his elbow on the window, swallowed whatever he was going to say, and muttered, if she liked it, then fine. I quietly picked fuzz off my coat sleeve. The world of the rich really does operate on a different plane. What's for dinner? He asked. Nothing. I'm full, from all this fury. Spent 10 million and you're still fuming, he teased. Not even for you. Your damn fiancée wanted me to kneel and help her into heels, I snapped, eyes shooting daggers. Ethan turned away and focused on the road. There's a business banquet the day after tomorrow, he said. I've sent you the guest list. Check for any special connections. Go to my place and inventory the gifts. I slumped against the seat. She bought a necklace. I work overtime. What a just and fair world. From Ethan's car, I collapsed straight onto his couch. He was in the kitchen, stewing tomatoes and beef. The aroma was heavenly. I ended up eating 2 bowls. Fighting with his wife was definitely a work hazard. I deserved compensation. Feeling slightly recharged, I went down to the basement storage to check on the gift stock. I'd been with him 7 years. I knew how business worked, it wasn't all contracts and strategy. A lot of deals hinged on social currency. And social currency meant gifts. Lots of them. Gifts people sent Ethan, I had to sort them. Which ones could be accepted? Which needed to be returned? The acceptable ones had to be categorized by value. Then, depending on who we were dealing with and what we wanted from them, I'd match gifts accordingly. Wearing my slippers, I dug through drawers. Ethan leaned against the doorframe, watching me in silence. Suddenly, my hands landed on 2 round, bandage-wrapped bottles. Who gave you these? I asked, holding them up. Finding black and white BDSM accessories in a single man's storage room? I was seriously losing it. Ethan cleared his throat with a cough. Forgot about those. You take them. Lately your face has been darker than Judge Bow's. This damn man never said anything nice. You take them were literally the only bearable words in that sentence. Why do people keep sending you makeup and skincare? I asked. Every year, I found foundation, lipstick, cleansing oils, even La Mer creams. I don't get it. Ethan's face darkened. He ground out the words, what? Do you think? I thought for a moment. Maybe they want to see you in drag. He froze. Then sneered. Amber, one day I swear I'm going to strangle you with my own hands. Fine. Go ahead. At this point, death wouldn't even faze me. What kind of circus is my life, anyway? Just as we were bickering over gift logistics, the doorbell rang. And through the intercom came a sugar-sweet voice, Brother Ethan, I brought you some freshly baked cupcakes. My entire body broke out in goosebumps. Colleen had 2 faces, and I just witnessed the other one. I pointed upstairs, then to the storage room. Whispered, you go. I'll hide. What's this? Since when do you like playing thief? I clapped a hand over his mouth. She sees me here, and I'm toast. Nothing will clear my name. Clear your name of what? Ethan's deep, raspy voice curled like velvet in the air, darker and more seductive than a midnight radio host. Even his breath brushed against my palm, hot and tingly. I snapped to attention and yanked my hand behind my back. Swallowed hard. Just, you know. No. I don't, Ethan said flatly. Aren't you here to pick out gifts? What are you hiding for? He licked his lips slowly. Or, are you harboring thoughts you shouldn't have about me? I immediately covered his mouth again. If I had a needle and thread, I'd sew it shut. Bro, seriously, you didn't hear your wife calling you for cake? Ethan rolled his eyes, shook me off, and went to open the door. I stayed exactly where I was. Because I wasn't stupid. I didn't want to go another round with Colleen. 1 per day was enough. 2, and I'd die young. My plan was perfect, stay in the basement until they finished chatting. But alas, Colleen wasn't stupid either. The moment Ethan opened the door, she charged in. Brother Ethan, why did it take you so long? Is someone here? Her voice echoed upstairs, as she began opening doors like a SWAT team in a soap opera. What are you doing? Ethan clearly sounded annoyed. He was territorial, private. He didn't even let cleaning ladies in unless he was at work. Now Colleen was rummaging through his place like a wild raccoon. I told you, I brought you cupcakes. There's a new place near Eantai Mall. I waited forever to get them. Well, you delivered them. Now go home. What's with the home invasion? I heard footsteps coming downstairs. Panic surged through me. The basement was a 4.5-meter high tea room. Open. Spacious. No cover. Nothing to hide behind. She reached the stairwell. and there I was. Exposed. Amber. You despicable bitch. Ethan. Why is she here? Ethan's lips thinned into a line. What did you just call her? I said. Say it again. Colleen took 2 steps back, barking fiercely but already retreating like a cowardly puppy. Why is Amber here? Seeing the 2 of them locked in a shouting match, I quietly slipped past them, holding a bottle of black and white bandage-laced gift in my hands. Excuse me, coming through. I'm actually here, for work, I said, edging around. Colleen leaned half her body out to block me. Work? You need to work at your boss's house now? Have you no shame? Work, she sneered. What's that thing in your hand? Do you think I don't know? Honestly, even I had to admit, holding this S&M looking thing didn't exactly scream office professionalism. But hey, I couldn't find a plastic bag downstairs, okay? I quickly hid it behind my back and scrambled for an explanation. Don't get the wrong idea. This is from my boyfriend. You have a boyfriend? Ethan muttered a curse in English. You're her boyfriend, aren't you? Colleen shrieked like a kettle hitting full boil. What is this mess? The whole situation was descending into full-blown chaos. Ethan. Kick that cheap slut out of here, she screamed, lunging forward, hand raised to slap me. Watch your mouth, Ethan barked, stepping protectively in front of me. She designed and supervised this entire house. She can come and go as she pleases. Who are you to barge in here in the middle of the night and yell at her? Who am I? Who am I? Colleen's eyes filled with tears. I'm your fiancé. Ethan snorted. Says who? Colleen stared in disbelief. You're denying me now? Because of this tramp? A vein popped on Ethan's temple, but his face contorted into a smile. Still can't call people properly, huh? He rolled up his sleeves and opened a nearby cabinet. Shit. I knew that look, he was actually pissed. Time to leave. I'll just let you 2 sort this out. I've got things to do at home. Then I saw what he pulled out. My knees nearly buckled. A riding crop. He smiled gently, adjusted his glasses, and said in the softest tone, Colleen, I've treated you like a little sister since we were kids. And I've always liked you. But tell me, when did it become okay to interrupt your elders? The crop cracked loudly against the cabinet. He took a step toward her. Then another. No manners? That's fine. Tonight, Big Brother will teach you how to talk to people. He took off his glasses and raised the crop. In my head, only one thing echoed, holy shit. Even Colleen was stunned. This high society princess had clearly never encountered such theatrics. She screamed and ran toward me. Help. With zero dignity, she buried herself in my arms. President Brown. I cried. That's domestic violence. Ethan looked like he was genuinely ready to break the law. Colleen. Get out here. Let's see if I don't beat that filthy mouth of yours clean. Assistant West. He's hitting me, she wailed in my arms like a siren. Oh. So you don't know how to act respectful. Ethan silently loosened his tie. Let's settle this tonight, he said. Better than arguing day after day. They started circling me like Chin and Xiangyu around the pillar. What was I supposed to do? All I could do was try to mediate. Come on now, I said. It's late. Don't hit the kids. Let it go. This is all your fault, I added with a sigh. Ethan genuinely looked like he wanted to whip her. Hard. Domestic abuse is a crime, I reminded him. Colleen, crying so hard her makeup ran, sobbed, abuse always starts once, and then never ends. Ethan laughed angrily. Exactly. So do yourself a favor and end this now. Cancel the wedding. I won't. God, that mouth of hers was made of steel. She screamed and ran. Ethan chased after her, crop in hand. I could see she wasn't getting far. In a panic, I ran up and hugged Ethan from behind, wrapping my arms around his waist. Don't. You'll break the child if you hit too hard. Ethan froze in my arms, falling silent. Colleen reached the front door. Leave the cake, Ethan barked coldly. Still sobbing, she placed the box of cupcakes on the threshold and screamed, Ethan, you'll regret this. Then she slammed the door so hard the sound echoed throughout the massive villa. Ethan didn't move. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, I exhaled in relief. So close. I'd been bracing for another round of battle, but Ethan just skipped the foreplay and launched the boss fight himself, smacking Colleen's dog head straight into the dirt. Brutal. This man, who'd gone from rage to calm in my arms, reached up and ruffled my hair. Don't be upset, he said softly. No one gets to talk to you like that. His eyes lowered, gaze tender. I'd been pretty miserable earlier, being barked at like a rabid dog, but now, seeing Ethan defend me with crop in hand? Strangely satisfying. I couldn't even feel the bitterness anymore, just a tinge of amusement. I smiled. And right then, our eyes met. His face was teasing, lips curled in a smirk. Feeling better now? Huh? He leaned back against the bar counter, took my hand, and gently pulled me into his arms. You're quite huggable. You weren't letting go. I quickly let go and stood up straight, shaking my head like a bobblehead. Sorry. Won't happen again. Ethan raised an eyebrow. We've known each other almost 10 years. Who would have thought you had it in you to fight? I gave a pained smile. I don't hit my wife, he said casually, picking up Colleen's cupcake and shoving it into my mouth. His dark eyes locked onto mine. I'm really good to my wife. Lying in bed that night, my heart still fluttered. His words echoed in my mind, I'm really good to my wife. And the way he looked at me when he said it, like he meant me. I was still daydreaming when my phone lit up. A WeChat from Mom. She asked for money, for my brother's medication. It hit me. Today was the 5th. I transferred $3,280. She accepted it. That was it. No thanks. No chat. I scrolled through our message history. Hardly any conversation. Just transactions. Suddenly, reality came crashing down, washing away every rosy thought like a bucket of ice water. I curled my arm under my head. Ethan never said he liked me. He always frowned when he saw me, like I was a nuisance. His tone was always cold and sarcastic. Constantly making me work overtime like a slave. There wasn't a shred of romance between us. Only money. And we'd known each other for years. If there was going to be anything between us, it would have happened by now. Clearly, I wasn't the one. A guy like him, if not Colleen, there would always be another Jean Colleen, Lou Colleen, waiting to marry him. Rich CEO and elegant heiress. That's the story. We, the ordinary folks, just watch from the sidelines. This kind of story doesn't have a place for us. All we have is poverty. I rolled over and closed my eyes. Back to work tomorrow. Nothing changed. Colleen still ding-talked me. After getting disciplined, she turned cold and aloof. Her daily message was always the same, is Ethan in today? Yes. End of conversation. Every day. No drama. No antics. Maybe she didn't dare stir the pot in front of Ethan anymore. Instead, she chose to cause trouble remotely. Miss Lee went full throttle, spent a fortune to buy trending hashtags and publicly announced her engagement to Ethan. Eric, bless his gossipy little soul, finally got the PR scandal he'd been waiting for. He rubbed his hands with glee and strolled out of Ethan's office to find me. Assistant West. What? President Brown wants to release a PR statement denying the engagement to Miss Lee. Eric waggled his eyebrows suggestively. What a little weasel. He practically lived for gossip. Got it. He already told me. Eric plopped into a chair, arms folded under his chin. He also said, he's been in a serious relationship for 7 years. With a longtime girlfriend. Never heard that before, I said honestly. Sounds fake. Really? Eric wiggled his eyebrows again, this time slower. I sighed. Don't look at me like that. It's obviously not me. If I were the boss's girlfriend, I wouldn't be showing up to work every day. I don't think it's anyone, I added. If he really had a girlfriend for 7 years, that would have started in college. There's no way I wouldn't know. He's totally making it up. Eric's eyes widened. He looked past me with reverence. I slowly turned around, and locked eyes with Ethan's death glare. I turned back around, pretending to type like my life depended on it. There's no use explaining when your boss catches you red-handed. Ethan didn't say a word. Just walked into his office like a storm cloud and slammed the door shut. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. Didn't ask what I wanted for dinner. Didn't assign tasks. Eventually, I poked my head in and asked about tomorrow's plans. I'm traveling for a meeting, he said. Okay, I replied. He didn't respond. So petty. All I said was he didn't have a wife. That Schrodinger's wife of his. Who suspiciously shared quite a few details of my life story. And I didn't even ask for copyright fees. I scrolled through our chat log. Today's conversation was short. It was Ethan's first day away, and Colleen still ding-talked me like clockwork. Just one word, here. We had developed a strange sort of mutual understanding. She didn't even bother with full sentences anymore, just a single, abrupt syllable. If someone were to glance at our chat history without context, they'd never imagine she saw me as a love rival. She looked more like a clingy, desperate guy trying to flirt. I looked over at the CEO's office, its door tightly shut. Not here. That was the last message I sent. And I would regret it almost immediately. Because just minutes later, Colleen stormed into the office building. She was dressed head to toe in black. Her brows were arched like daggers, lips painted a violent red like she'd just devoured a demon child. You could tell from her makeup alone, this woman had entered her villain arc. She kicked open my glass door. Assistant West. You're fired. Our entire floor is made of transparent glass partitions. The moment she shouted, every colleague paused mid-keystroke and turned to watch, eyes sparkling with glee. Eric, that traitorous little gremlin, even pulled out his phone and started recording, probably live streaming to his gossip chat. I felt a migraine coming. Miss Lee, who are you exactly? You can't just fire me. I'm your boss's fiancée. She yanked my wrist and dragged me out of my office. Ethan doesn't need you anymore. Get lost. Whether or not Ethan wanted to fire me was one thing. But even a dismissal had to follow basic labor laws. Our termination protocol takes 2 months, I calmly replied. Employees deserve adequate notice and severance. I'll give you 10 million. Right now. Leave him. She threw a black credit card at my feet like a queen tossing coins at a beggar. Shamefully. I hesitated. But then I did the math. At my current salary and benefits, 10 million wouldn't even cover 20 years of income. And considering I might never find a better job than this again? The lowest price I'd accept was 17.62 million. You think you can buy me off with that? I said, lifting my chin. Amber. You shameless bitch, she screeched. Oh, I get it. He offered you more, didn't he? Not more, I shrugged. But it's steady. I was just about to negotiate further when Colleen lunged at me. I dodged like a startled cat. Unable to hit me, she went ballistic and swept everything off my desk onto the floor. Finally, the onlookers stopped spectating and stepped in. A group of colleagues blocked her path. Why are you getting violent? She's trying to steal my man. What, am I supposed to wait for a holiday to slap her? I'm already being generous, not tearing her face off. She pointed a perfectly manicured finger right at my nose. Amber, do you have no shame? You know he's getting married, yet you still cling to him, for money. You're disgusting. I could tolerate any form of grievance at work. But insult my profession, and you've crossed a line. I pushed Eric out of the way and stepped forward. Miss Lee, if your husband can't have a female secretary, then you should keep him leashed at home. Even without a secretary, I continued, he still has female colleagues, clients, project partners. Are you going to faint every time he speaks to a woman? Ha, she sneered. You think you're the same as them? They don't beg him for this and that. They don't dip into his finances. And they certainly don't spend the night at his house. I was trembling with fury. Under everyone's shocked stares, I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. As his assistant, yes, I often delivered documents to his house. Yes, I managed some of the company's administrative finances. It's my job. That's part of my responsibility. If, during that time, my boss gave me bonuses, I said, voice shaking, then it's because he believed I earned them. Where's security? You dare touch me? Colleen screamed. The guards finally arrived and restrained her. She looked utterly stunned. This is a workplace, one said. Visitors must follow protocol. We don't allow unauthorized family members to barge in. But she's not staff, the security lead said, glancing nervously at Colleen. And this is a professional environment. There are employees here, not family members. Understood. Understood, he replied stiffly. Colleen thrashed in place. West, don't get cocky just because you're holding a chicken feather like it's an imperial edict. Legal, I called out. Present. John raised his hand from behind a desk. Miss Lee came into the company and caused damage to property, he said, typing furiously into his laptop. That's grounds for compensation. Not to mention disruption of business operations. Sue her, I said coldly. Unbelievable. Colleen snapped. So this company protects mistresses now. She suddenly twisted free from the guards and raised her hand high, about to strike me again. But someone grabbed her wrist hard. A man in a black suit, white shirt. His hair was tousled from rushing over. The moment Ethan appeared in the chaos, his presence quieted everything. As always. My nose stung inexplicably. John, Ethan said calmly, add another charge to the complaint, public slander and defamation of Assistant West. His voice was full of authority. John blinked. Boss, she'll have to file that one herself. Employee reputation isn't covered by the company. It is now. Ethan's eyes cut through the crowd and landed on me. There was so much in that gaze. Colleen's eyes filled with tears. I'm your fiancée, she whimpered. And you're still protecting her? Ethan shook her hand off and sneered. My engagement party wasn't even brought to my attention. I saw it posted on Eric's Moments feed. With that, he scoffed. You think that qualifies you as a fiancée? The office exploded with whispers. I didn't even know how it all ended. Next thing I knew, I was sitting in Ethan's office again, my chest tight, tears streaming uncontrollably. Ethan sat beside me, handing me tissues one by one. There. Don't be upset, he said softly, pushing a mug of hot cocoa toward me. I shook my head. I'm not upset. I know. I work hard every single day. You do. All my raises, all my promotions. I earned them through overtime. Through real work, hick. Yes. No one's more dedicated than you. But now they think I slept my way up. I broke down in sobs. They think I'm just your mistress. You're not. He pulled me gently into his arms. The truth shines through, Amber. Everyone here sees what you do, how much you've done. Really? He chuckled softly, chest rising beneath my cheek. And besides, he added, you're not a mistress. Maybe it was the comforting scent of his cedarwood cologne. Or maybe it was the way he said those words. But my tears began to slow. 15 minutes later, when I'd finally sobbed myself into a quiet daze, something hit me. Wait a minute. Why the hell was I clinging to Ethan like this? I shot upright and shoved him away. Colleen had just caused a scene not an hour ago. My reputation was already hanging by a thread. I'd just sworn to the world that Assistant West was pure and professional. And here I was cuddling in Ethan's arms? If this went to court, even the best lawyer couldn't save me. There's nothing between me and her, Ethan said, eyes fixed on me. And there's nothing between us either, right? He smiled, teasing. We should be careful. Alone like this, people might get the wrong idea. I turned away, hand reaching for the doorknob. I don't want to be dragged into your personal mess anymore. Ethan's hand reached over my shoulder and slammed the door shut with a loud thud. I'm sorry, he said, breath warm against my skin. I shivered. Has she been giving you trouble behind my back? I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Heh, I scoffed. Isn't that what secretaries are for? Taking the heat. The company's cash flow was in trouble. Her family had money. Her parents arranged our engagement without my consent. I didn't show up. I froze and turned to look at him. Ethan's eyes were rimmed red, the hair over his forehead in disarray. He looked uncharacteristically fragile. So, President Brown, I said, stunned, you were, what? Forced into marriage? He lowered his eyes, delicate and pitiful. Why didn't you say so earlier? I'd been treating Colleen like royalty, bending over backward to please her. You didn't ask, he murmured. It felt like a jolt of electricity. Everyone knew, except me. He looked up, eyes filled with quiet reproach. You never asked. You never cared. Back home, I opened Eric's social feed again. That so-called engagement of Ethan's, I had seen it there too. Lavish. Fairy tale-like. I had glanced at it once, my heart clenching, then immediately swiped away. It had nothing to do with me. No reason to care. No reason to look. But now, I could finally scroll through all the congratulatory messages calmly. Among the flood of blessings was one particularly loud reply, Ethan, you went? I didn't even go. Eric, wait, what? Wasn't it real? Ethan, fake. Arranged. Rejected. Just like that, the comments under the post shifted from blessings to a cascade of resistance. I laughed, palm covering my mouth. So, everyone knew. Except me. At some point, I had trained myself to ignore everything personal about Ethan. We came to work together. Left together. But there was always distance between us. I knew that a young, rich, handsome CEO like him would eventually belong to someone. Sooner or later. Just not me. So why think about him at all? Thinking would only lead to hurt. So I didn't ask. Didn't watch. Didn't wonder. I built a wall and stayed behind it. That was how I kept my distance. No hope. No disappointment. But Ethan had never really given me a reason to be disappointed, had he? Blushing, I scratched my neck. Who scrolls through moments anyway? Just then, my phone rang. It was my mom. Mom, Amber, come home right away. Your brother's in the hospital. The joy I had just begun to feel vanished instantly. That same day, I handed off all my work to my assistant, approved my own leave, and boarded a train. I was headed back to my hometown in rural Hubei. My brother had a kidney problem. It stemmed from a bad injection when he was little. He couldn't do manual labor and required a steady stream of medical payments. It was tough. We almost couldn't afford college tuition that year. If I hadn't insisted, my parents would have married me off at 18. But I gritted my teeth, took out student loans, earned scholarships, and somehow scraped through university. Now here I was, barely making it. No house. No car. Couldn't afford a dog, let alone marriage. My ending was just someone else's starting point. Like that joke, at work I'm Selena. At home? I'm Suelon. That was my life. After an overnight train ride and a night in a dingy guest house, I took a minibus to the village the next morning. By local standards, our family was doing okay. A few years ago, I gave my parents $300,000. They built a 3-story mini villa, by hand. Yes. My parents built their house brick by brick themselves. When I arrived, my mom was in the courtyard, chasing a chicken. Didn't look like anyone was in the ICU to me. Back already? She asked, calm as ever. Where's my brother? Same as usual. Upstairs. I was furious. Then why'd you make me come back? She wiped her hands on her apron. I arranged a marriage for you. I nearly choked. Turned to leave. She grabbed my arm. You're already here. I just spent the whole night on the train. You're almost 30, she sighed. Still single, it's not right. The match I found for you is perfect. You'll like him, I swear. Ugh, spare me. She patted her chest confidently. My daughter is top-notch. I'd never set you up with just anyone. He's a city boy, came back home recently. Tall, handsome, very capable. I didn't believe the handsome part. But by then, the whole village had gathered to watch, so I couldn't exactly escape. I'd taken vacation anyway, and staying here or elsewhere didn't make much difference. So I stayed. The next morning, I woke up to find a man sitting in our courtyard. Tall, maybe 6 feet. Slim. Dyed silver-white hair. Black single-hoop earring. He looked trendier than me. I blinked. What kind of guy was this? My mom sat across from him, wolfing down breakfast. You couldn't at least tidy up before coming out? The man turned his head. His features were long and elegant. Nose sharp. A bit lazy, a bit rich boy energy. He looked me up and down. I was in pajamas, toothbrush in mouth, slippers dragging. I thought there was no one in this village I'd care about. Turns out, my mom really found a looker. He introduced himself. Invited me for a walk among the fields. Before we left, my mom pulled me aside. Asked for $300,000 in bride price. No less. I rolled my eyes and brushed her off. Fine. I'll just reject him after we walk. Julian, that was his name, had graduated from a top university, worked in a big tech company, nearly burned out, and came back here to start a farm. Because of his looks and the romantic nature of his videos, he became a rural influencer, dubbed the male version of Laziki. He shook my hand. I'm Julian. You're really good at playing hard to get. He showed me around the farm and asked if I was interested in joining him. The village was full of the elderly and kids. He'd heard about my shiny resume and had his eye on me for a while. My mom overheard and completely misunderstood, thinking it meant bride price. Julian didn't lack money. Being a big content creator paid well. In today's economy, every industry's hard, except internet media, which was booming. As I looked at the lush green fields before me, Ethan's face popped into my head. The serious Ethan. The charming Ethan. The snarky Ethan. The gentle-eyed Ethan when he looked at me. The countryside was beautiful. Mountains, rivers, birdsong, flowers. The city had high prices. High housing costs. Crowded subways. Endless hours in a cubicle. But, he was in the city. My job wasn't bad. My boss is my college senior, I said. He's very capable. Capable enough for you to work 996? Julian asked, reading me like a book. Go on then. Get back to work. I waved him off. I was here anyway. Corn was ripe, it was harvest time. As I picked corn in the field, my phone rang. It was my mom. Annoyed, I hung up. She called again. And again. On the third call, I finally answered. What? A pause. Your husband is here. She sounded breathless. Reverent. Terrified. Where are you and that other boy? Hide. Now. What? You never told me you were married, she muttered. I was setting you up with someone else, and now your husband's here. Great. I asked, what did you say to him? I told him you were on a date. He stormed out immediately. Looked like he was gonna fight someone. My heart dropped. I looked up, and there, charging across the green cornfield, was Ethan in a pitch-black suit. Without thinking, I crouched down in the crops. Come out. I crouched lower. Are you hiding because I have a knife? He sneered. Only then did I peek an eye out from behind the corn stalks. Seriously, he scoffed. So, it's true. You're dating a male influencer? Planning to quit? No. I won't approve it. Give up on the idea. He yanked me out of the corn. His hand was warm. I instinctively struggled. Didn't work. Don't bother. No use. His gaze locked on me. The sun above was harsh, stinging my eyes. He pulled me close. Amber, I'm good to you. Don't tell me you don't feel it. You're a great boss, I choked out. I'm not your boss. His eyes turned red. 7 years. 2,847 days. Breakfasts, dinners, seasons, years. You can't keep calling me that. 2,847 days. So long already? He cupped my face and gently wiped away my tears. All these years, don't tell me not even once, not even for a second, you thought about me. I opened my mouth. And memories I thought long buried, suddenly came alive. I scrolled through our chat history. Today's conversation was so short. It was Ethan's first day away. Colleen, as usual, pinged me on DingTalk. You there? We had become so familiar with this routine that she didn't even type full sentences anymore, just that one phrase. If someone looked at our chat log, they'd never guess this was a wealthy heiress treating me like a romantic rival. She looked more like a desperate guy trying to flirt with a cold girl who kept ignoring him. I glanced at the tightly shut office door. Not here. That was the reply I most regretted sending. Because very soon, Colleen stormed into the company. She wore all black today, arched brows, blood-red lips, a full, villainous has snapped, makeup look. She kicked open the door to my office. "Assistant West, you're fired. Our entire floor is made of glass-walled conference rooms." At her shout, every coworker put down their laptops and turned to stare. Eric, that bastard, even whipped out his phone to start recording, probably streaming live. I had a splitting headache. "Miss Lee, and you are?" "You're fired," she snapped again. "I didn't realize you were my boss." "I'm your boss's fiancée," she screamed, grabbing my wrist and yanking me out of my office. "Ethan doesn't need you anymore. Get out of here." Whether Ethan needed me or not was up to him, but termination still had to follow basic labor law. "In this company, we follow due process," I said calmly. "It takes 2 months to dismiss someone formally, with proper notice and severance." "I'll give you 10 million, she declared, flinging a black credit card at my feet. "Leave him. Right now." Shamefully. I was a little tempted. But based on my current salary and benefits, 10 million could only buy out less than 20 years of my career. Given how unlikely it was for me to find a better job again, my lowest asking price would have to be 17.62 million. I did the math silently. "You think you can buy me for that price?" I scoffed. "Amber, you ungrateful." "Oh, I see. He's giving you even more, isn't he?" "Not exactly more," I replied. "But it's stable." I was just about to negotiate when she lunged at me. Luckily, I dodged like a ninja. Unable to reach me, she went berserk and swept all the items off my desk, sending them crashing to the floor. Finally, my coworkers stepped in, forming a wall in front of me. "Why are you hitting people?" one shouted. "She's stealing my fiancé," Colleen cried. "Should I schedule a day to slap her? Should I be grateful I haven't torn up her face yet?" She jabbed a finger at my nose. "Amber, do you have no shame? You knew he was getting married, and yet you still clung to him, for money." She spat each word with venom. "You ruined someone else's family. How disgusting are you?" I could endure insults. I could endure misunderstanding. But when she insulted my profession, she crossed a line. I stepped out from behind Eric and pushed his shoulder aside. "Miss Lee, if your fiancé can't have a female secretary once he's married, perhaps you should chain him up at home." "Even without a secretary," I continued, "he still works with women, female subordinates, female partners. Are you going to faint and scream at all of them?" "Ha! As if you're the same as them," Colleen sneered. "They don't cling to him for this and that. They don't ask for money. And they certainly don't spend the night at his place." I was shaking with rage. Under the stunned stares of everyone around, I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. Yes, as his secretary, I often went to his place to deliver documents. I also managed certain project budgets, that's my job description. My voice trembled. If during that time, my boss gave me additional compensation, it's because he believed I earned it. "Where's security?" I called out. Colleen's face turned to disbelief as the guards arrived. "Company premises are governed by rules," I said coolly. "No unauthorized personnel should be allowed entry." "But she's..." The guard shot her a nervous glance. "This is a workplace. We only recognize employees, not family members." "Understood," the head of security asked. "Understood." Colleen struggled as she was restrained. "West, don't act like you're in charge." "Legal," I interrupted her shouting. "Here." John raised his hand. "She caused property damage and disrupted operations," I said. "File a lawsuit." John was already typing furiously on his laptop. "Absolutely. This counts as more than just damage, she disrupted business. A claim for compensation is fully justified." "You're all unreasonable." Colleen shrieked. "Is this how your company protects mistresses?" She suddenly twisted out of the guard's grasp and raised a hand to slap me. But her wrist was caught midair, by a man in a black suit and white shirt, hair tousled from running. Ethan had arrived. His presence alone quieted the chaos. Just like always, something about seeing him made my nose sting. "John," he said, voice authoritative. "Add another count to that lawsuit, defamation and slander of Assistant West." John blinked. "President, personal reputations aren't our responsibility. She'll have to press charges herself." "They are now." Ethan's gaze swept over the room and settled on me. His eyes held too many emotions to name. Colleen's eyes welled up with tears. "I'm your fiancé, and yet you only protect that woman." Ethan scoffed, tossing her hand aside. My engagement ceremony? I wasn't notified. I wasn't even invited. I found out from Eric's social media. He paused, voice sharp. And you still think you qualify as my fiancé? The office exploded in whispers. I don't remember how it all ended. When I came to, I was already sitting in Ethan's office, heart aching. Tears streamed uncontrollably down my face. Ethan sat beside me, holding a tissue box and passing me one sheet at a time. There. Don't be upset. He pushed a cup of hot chocolate toward me. I shook my head. I'm not upset. I know, he said gently. You've always worked so hard. I sobbed. My promotions and raises were all from overtime. Wah. Yes, he murmured. You're the most dedicated, responsible person I know. But now, everyone thinks I slept my way up. I broke into loud sobs. They think I'm just your mistress. No, he said, pulling me into his warm embrace. Everyone knows the truth. They see how much you've done, how hard you've worked. Really? I sniffled. He chuckled softly. And besides, you're not my mistress. Maybe it was the comforting scent of his woody cologne, or the tender warmth of his words, but my emotions slowly settled. 10 minutes later, I blinked myself fully awake from the days of crying. And suddenly I realized. Wait. Why the hell am I clinging to Ethan like this? I immediately pushed him away. Colleen had just thrown a public tantrum. My reputation was hanging by a thread. I'd just sworn I was clean, and now here I was, hugging the CEO? If this went to court, even Luo Xiang couldn't help me. I have nothing to do with her, Ethan said, eyes locked on mine. And you have nothing to do with me either. I retorted. A man and woman alone in a room should maintain some decorum. I turned toward the door, hand reaching for the handle. I don't want to get dragged into your private affairs again. Ethan's hand slammed the door shut beside my shoulder with a loud thud. I'm sorry, he said, breath warm, making me shiver. Has she been bothering you all this time? He asked quietly. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Heh. Secretaries are meant to be bothered, aren't they? I said, sulking. Ethan's parents never stepped in during the entire fiasco. Every time he returned home, he would come back out fuming. There was no way they would accept me anytime soon. You're really that confident I'll marry you? I teased. We haven't even dated yet. Then let's not bother, he said. 7 years? I'm almost 30. I can't wait any longer. Ethan held my hand and rubbed his face affectionately against mine. For a moment, he looked just like the boy I'd buried deep in my heart during those green, youthful years. By the way, he asked, how far along are you with the wedding prep? Oh, I finished the design tender. Show me. Yes, this file. Assistant West, he said seriously, you don't need to manage this project anymore. Our wedding, 30 million. Not a cent less. What? Afraid I'll try to save you 20 million? I rolled my eyes. Is that really how you see me? Besides, he leaned in and kissed me. Since when does the bride plan the wedding? Leave it to me. I give you my heart, now let me handle the wedding. Epilogue, Ethan's perspective, college days. Ethan first met Amber in his junior year of college. She was brought into his project group by one of his roommates. Ethan had seen many beautiful women, so the first time he saw her, he frowned. He didn't like women who tried to climb up by relying on their looks. To him, that was using beauty as a weapon, treating men like fools. I don't keep freeloaders, he had muttered. Senior, I can do everything, Amber cut in confidently. His frown deepened. But her gaze was direct, bright, warm, and just a little bit anxious. He couldn't tell if she was flirting or being serious. And before he could figure it out, she had already become part of his world. He quickly learned not to judge a book by its cover. Amber was beautiful, but more importantly, she was capable. Extremely capable. When they distributed survey flyers, she could stand under the blazing sun all afternoon handing them out. Then she would process the data in SPSS and produce a clean report. After every group discussion, she would immediately compile the minutes. One time, he reserved a library room for data collection. The next morning when he walked in, she was still in the same spot, wearing the same clothes as yesterday, fast asleep with her laptop in her arms. She's not good at English, a roommate muttered. Barely passed CET, 6 on her second try, and you still give her this much reading? Ethan looked at the thick stack of printed material by her side, all new vocabulary and research papers. But she had finished it. Later, more people wanted to join his group, even professors were recommending their students. That girl Amber isn't a top student or someone close to you. Why not just replace her? Ethan didn't even lift his eyelids. She's my team member. His family had donated a building to the college. When he spoke, no one dared question his decisions. The day their project won an award, Amber rode over on her bicycle to find him. He was being blocked at the cafeteria entrance by the campus belle, who had just confessed to him. Ethan wasn't the type to string people along, but that day, he listened to her long, flowery confession. Because Amber had asked him to meet her there for dinner. He just wanted to see what she would do. She arrived right on time, another one of her consistent traits. As soon as she saw what was happening, she skidded her bike to a stop and blinked in confusion. Then, instead of walking away, she joined the crowd and started watching the drama, cheering and giggling like everyone else. Ethan felt annoyed for some reason. He left the bell mid-sentence and walked straight over. "You said you were buying me dinner." "Yes," she replied warily. "Right here." He raised a brow. "At the cafeteria?" "Yeah. Why not? Come on up." That day, Ethan sat on the back seat of her beat-up bicycle, gripping her waist as they rode through campus. He took her to his favorite hot pot place. She was stiff at first, unsure where to put her hands and feet. But soon, she relaxed, and ate a lot. "Why are you treating me?" he asked casually. "I won a national scholarship," she said with a mushroom still in her mouth, her expression earnest. "Thank you, senior." He glanced at her. The steam from the hot pot made her cheeks flush, lips a soft, rosy pink. They looked very kissable. "Consider it a celebration." When she saw the bill, she nearly fainted, face pale, hands trembling, but in the end, resigned to her fate. Ethan pulled out his black card. He knew students couldn't afford this kind of place. "But I said I'd treat," she insisted, pulling open a little denim wallet with a cartoon sheep on it, trying to shove money into his hand. It was the first time someone had ever argued with him over a bill. Most women who approached him carried LV or Chanel, not a pink wallet with a lamb on it. On the way back, she pushed her bike while walking beside him. "You said you'd let me treat you to dinner," he said. "Don't you have anything else to say?" She paused, then lowered her eyes shyly as the riverside wind whipped around them. "Yes," she murmured. His heart skipped a beat. "Senior, if there's another project like this in the future, could you bring me along?" Ethan's lips twitched slightly. He suddenly realized, she never wore makeup when she came to see him. That night, he went racing for the first time in months. In hindsight, that was the moment everything started to change. He had never been that kind of person before. After the project ended, they had no more formal contact. But Ethan started going to the cafeteria, something he'd never done before. "Yo, senior." He heard her voice ring out cheerfully as he held his tray. Amber was a strange one. When he didn't see her, he missed her. But when he did, he sometimes wished he hadn't. No other girl he knew ever greeted people with "yo." Long legs striding over, he sat down across from her and froze. "What are you eating?" She blinked. "Lunch." On her tray was a single bowl of rice, one huge chili pepper, and a bowl of free vegetable broth, barely anything. "Are you very poor?" he asked, shocked. "Yeah," she replied casually. That was the first time Ethan realized someone could be so poor. Amber didn't dress up, but she was always clean and neatly put together. He had just assumed she was stingy. "But I eat really well at night," she said quickly, as if to comfort him. "I work in the kitchen, we eat like kings." "What?" he blurted. "The kitchen." That evening, Ethan found himself in a dingy staff canteen he swore he'd never enter, watching her rush around in an apron, serving dishes and handling money. "Our tomato egg beef rice bowl is super tasty," Amber grinned, recommending a few signature dishes. When no one was looking, she whispered, "I added an extra egg just for you." She was so close when she said it. From that day on, Ethan fell in love with tomato egg beef rice. He came back every day to order it. Every time she gave him extra food, he'd return the favor by treating her to snacks or drinks, never charity, just reciprocity. "You're about to graduate?" his father asked. "Anyone you've got your eye on?" "No." "What kind of girl do you like?" Ethan looked out the window and thought, "My wife will probably cook me tomato egg beef rice with extra toppings." One Valentine's Day, he passed by the dorms and saw his roommate giving Amber roses. He froze. He had never imagined someone else might like her. She never wore makeup, always dressed like a boy. But she was beautiful. He watched them chat in the snow. Amber's mouth moved seriously, then she accepted the bouquet. His roommate left. She went upstairs. Ethan didn't absorb a single word in class that day. Over lunch, he casually asked, "So, old Lynn gave you flowers?" "Yeah." "How was it?" His heart pounded. "Pretty good." "Yes or no?" "I'm taking good care of them," she added quickly. "They're expensive this time of year. I'm thinking of reselling them." "You know anyone who'd want them?" she asked seriously. Ethan's throat bobbed. "Me. I want them." Amber blinked. "If it's you, I won't charge." She solemnly handed him the bouquet. "Just don't take them back to the dorm, okay?" Even though Lynn said they're mine now, selling them secondhand might upset him. Ethan nodded seriously. then turned and took the flowers straight back to his dorm. He sometimes thought he was being a little wicked. But old Lynn never tried pursuing Amber again afterward. So being a little wicked was nothing. College passed in a blur. She spent every day working part-time jobs, studying, saving money. Whenever he looked at her, time seemed to vanish in a blink. One day, he passed her dorm building and saw her on the lawn, crying her heart out. He asked her roommate what had happened. Turns out someone had stolen her scholarship quota. He went straight to the academic office. By evening, she was resurrected, proudly announcing to him, "I got money. 5,000. Look, I'm rich." Ethan felt his chest tighten. No, I can't let her go out into the world like this. She'll be bullied. But graduation was nearing. What do you like besides money? A wild animal in his chest clawed to break free. Of course I like other things, Amber replied, surprised by such a strange question. Then, have you ever thought about? He looked directly at her. Amber stopped fussing. She let out a soft laugh. Senior, people like us, if we want something, we stop wanting it. The beast inside him froze instantly. In that moment, Ethan understood. His little girl didn't lack a heart. She just lacked the freedom to love. It wasn't that she'd never thought of giving up. It was simply that she couldn't imagine a life without struggling for survival. Or imagine a future where she wasn't fighting alone. He stopped arguing with his family. After graduation, he returned home and took over the family business. The very next year, he went back to campus for recruitment. He offered the highest salary of the entire fair. Hundreds of people applied. One round after another, written tests, interviews. Until finally, only one candidate remained. Her. The day she walked into the CEO's office wearing a brand new suit and an employee badge, she beamed. Senior. It's you. It's me, he answered. Of course it's me, Ethan thought helplessly. He could wait. Wait until she grew from poverty into her own quiet abundance. Come on, he said softly. Let me treat you to lunch. What do you want to eat today?